Recorded Books presents Meant to Be Yours by Sequoia. Narrated by Kentra, Lynn, and Jean Roberson.
Chapter 1. Aurea. Panic-stricken, I woke up sweating profusely. Looking over at the small Hello Kitty clock that rested on my nightstand, I peered at the time and exhaled deeply. It displayed 11:59 p.m. Taking deep breaths to steady my nerves, I tried coaching myself to pull it together. The time had come to get out of this house. I usually had about 5 minutes from now before he made his way into my bedroom. "Please, God, don't let the door give out," I mouthed the words, referring to the makeshift lock I made using a rope tied from my doorknob to my dresser's handle. I hoped God heard me. He had to. I waited with bated breath, silently continuing to pray that he didn't gain entry into my bedroom. My eyes shifted toward the light shining underneath the door, focusing on the shadow of his feet, as everything seemed to go quiet. My eyes darted around my room, searching for anything to defend myself with, if he happened to break down the door. As nothing came into view, his scoffing pierced my ears before I heard him say, "All right." Not a second later, a menacing laugh left his mouth, seeming to draw further from my door. I looked at the spot where his feet had once cast a shadow, relieved to see nothing other than light. He was gone, had moved from the spot. I let out the breath I'd been holding as the house phone rang, loudly, buying me a little more time. Nervously, I began chewing on the inside of my cheek as thoughts of my next move flooded my mind. Waiting around to be raped was far from a favorable option. Hence, the reason I popped 2 sleeping pills earlier, with hopes to sleep through the act or not wake at all, just in case my Loctite didn't work. Was dying something I wanted? Of course not. It would have been an out, though. God clearly had other plans for me. So it was time to put in some work to take advantage of the chance given to me. "Come on, Aurea, you can do this." Finally finding my voice, I whispered the words meant to motivate me as my hands and legs shook, as if I were standing in the middle of the North Pole naked. Removing my blankets, revealing my black and pink pajamas purchased from Target, I inched my way off the bed. Picking up my messenger bag while easing my nightstand drawer open, I grabbed a few bras, panties, and my cell before tossing them into the bag, then slid my feet into my Nike slides. "Okay, Aurea, what next?" Talking to myself had slowly become a habit. Standing there wringing my hands, I anticipated an answer that only I could give. The doorknob shook again. My knees buckled. "Shit," he cussed, rattling the doorknob before his heavy footsteps trailed off once again. That was the final sign I needed. It was time to get the hell out of Dodge. Leaving was always a part of my plan, especially with my 18th birthday around the corner. Going tonight, however, wasn't. Apples and oranges, usually what life threw my way. So there was no reason to think now would be any different. For 5 years, my foster father had his way with me, routinely. At least 3 nights a week when my foster mother left for work. She departed the house at 10, and he waited until 12:05 a.m., 12:06 a.m., at the latest, before entering, like clockwork, because around midnight, she'd call. Unsure of what he was about to do next, I needed to hurry and make a move. I eased over to my window, sliding it up as gently as possible to avoid the raggedy window from making too much noise. This house was old. Even with multiple streams of income coming in, my county check included, they still only did the bare minimum fixing this place. I exhaled, satisfied when it opened with a minimal clatter. "Aurea?"
Sample complete. Ready to continue?